Hey kids, welcome to Lesson 10, Building an App, Color Sleuth, Number 7 Intro. Next step, activating buttons. Michael, okay, great, we can produce random game boards. What next? Alexis, I think the next thing would be to add click functionality to the buttons. Michael, yeah, where if you to click on a button, we should check whether it's the right one or not. So we're going to need 4 event handlers, one for each button. Alexis, right. I'm actually thinking this would be a great time for another function. That'll save us from writing the same code over and over and over again in each event handler. The function should check whether they hit the right button or not. Update the score. Michael, ooh, and we should also change the game board every time a button is clicked too. Alexis, good thinking. We can put that in this function too since it's called on every button click. Let me sketch out what I'm thinking. Looks like we have a little sketch right here. On top we have our function set board. We have already made this code here. And it looks like we're making a new function called check correct. Looks pretty interesting. Michael, I get it, cool. So my question is now, how will it function? How will it know which button is correct? Alexis, good question. Michael, oh, what if we just made random button ID a global variable? Well, that way, every time setBoard is called, it generates a new random ID, and it becomes a global variable that any other function can look at. I made a sketch. So we have our function setBoard here, and it looks like we have that random button ID. We're pulling it out of the function above setBoard, so now this is going to become a global variable. And the rest of the code is still there. We have our added function with our 4 event handlers to check to see if the right one was clicked. Alexis, oh good, random button ID is actually the correct button to click in the game, and now it's a global variable. But now check correct needs a way to know both which button was hit so that we can compare it to random button ID. Michael, what if we gave check correct a parameter? If you call the check correct button, button 3 for example, it checks whether button 3 is correct and updates the score. Alexis, I see, good idea. Seems like a pretty easy if statement to write. We compare the button ID pressed to the function and random ID. Alexis, I see, good idea. Seems like a pretty easy if statement to write. We compare the button ID pressed to the function and random button ID. Here, I'll sketch it out. Well, we have a sketch here, so we have our global variable still up there, our setBoard call, and our actual function here. Another function check correct, which is just basically for the event handlers checking to see, hey, did they click the right button? And it looks like we're adding an if statement within there, and it says if the button ID is equal to the random button, then that's correct and something will happen. And then maybe we'll get to a point something else will, but for now we just want to see, is it correct? Michael, nice, but wow, that's a lot of changes. Alexis, true, but I'm glad we thought this one out on paper first. I think we can do it, and I know we can. We shouldn't do it all at once though. We should do it in steps, and at each step verify that the change is working. Michael, well, let's just do that with console.log messages. At each step, we will just add console.log messages to verify that things are working, and we can remove them later if we want. Alexis, yeah, let's take it in pieces. I suggest 1, add global variable for correct button. 2, add 4 event handlers. 3, add function check correct ID. And 4th, add if statement to verify correctness. Michael, let's do it. Woo! Sounds like a lot to do. I'm glad we took the time to think this out though, because now I have a little better understanding of what we're doing and it won't seem so random. I'm ready to jump into this fun, so I will see you on lesson number 7.